We are here today, and I say good evening, most likely good morning. I'm aiming for, all right, I'm aiming for like midnight tonight. It may not happen, but if it doesn't, expect it like 2 or 3 in the morning, then you'll see it when you wake up. But we're gonna go ahead and get it back started. It's getting tough, it's getting rough. This man is getting clapped all around, and he's quitting and whatnot, all willy-nilly. But let's see how it goes. We got a whole new journey and expedition for him, and I ain't talking about 33. Let's make it happen. Bro, your old head's really showing. Did they clap you back in time? I mean, damn. This is one of them things I tell people, like, when they look back at these games, and I keep having to emphasize this too as well. They be like, man, these games back then, man, they was great. These was better than today. Let me tell you something. No, they weren't. No, they're not. No, they're not. They were good for their time. All right. But if you go back and play these, all these games didn't age well. Let me clarify. Some did, like the Punisher, the Streets of Rage. Like, there were some games that did, but not all. All right, go back to it.
This place is colder than ever go.
Dang, bro, you playing the insurance lizard game? I didn't even realize that's what that was. Man, bro, you rage quitting in this guy. You can't even win at those games, bro. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Wait, hold on. It's saying this account got banned too?
Get that ass banned. Get that ass banned.
Alright, so how many accounts do I got?
Man, damn, just play the game right. Why'd you get Just play it right, fool. You know what would be great? Like, what would really save you this trouble in trying to figure out what account has what? It's when you enter into the game, you play the game, you finish the match, and then you go to the next match. And it's rinse and repeat. And in that way, you ain't even got to worry about what profile it was or what you bought your stuff on. Boom, easy fix.
All right, let me try this one. I think I was on a roll.
Oh, okay. Is the mortal clap back?
I keep forgetting which account I'm not banned on.
How many accounts did you get banned on?
And they're gonna make me watch this. It's just not even worth it, bro.
Yeah, hit his ass with that Big Bang Mortal Kombat. That's what I'm talking about.
It's not worth it. Imagine trying to get somebody banned off of something where you literally steal and clip clips from my stream when I play the game.
Evidently, you don't understand how the game works. People ain't reporting you. The game can see when you're quitting. The game can see when you quit. And if you're playing against somebody and you're not playing right and they report you, that has nothing to do with us. Hell, we clip farmers. That ain't got nothing to do with us. So when your stuff get banned, maybe if you play the game, how about this? The account that's not banned, why is it not banned and why are the others banned? Now, when you can get the answer to that question, you can find out why the other ones keep getting banned.
It's crazy work.
You crazy work.
How'd I lose 3 different accounts on this ass game?
You talking about losing profiles and accounts. You need to be worried about how you losing the matches.
I haven't even quit on any of the other accounts. That's the funny thing.
Cap.
When Kung La.
Round 1, fight.
Oh, yeah, What was you getting ready to do? What was you getting ready to do right there? What was you doing with that menu screen? What was you doing? Huh? What was that? What was that? Surely you weren't about to quit again. Or surely you weren't about to put this account in the position to get banned, were you?
I forgot to change my controllers. Forgot to change my controller.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that I can see you?
I don't even have a block button.
It don't matter. You only use one button. The layered gameplay button. That's all you use. And heck, if they manage to hit you, you just quit. So what do you need to block for? You know what I'm saying? All you do is you don't even use block. However, how you do use block is you get yourself blocked off the game or you can't play on live. That's about the only blocking you got going on your profiles. Oh yeah, and those pointless blocks that don't work when you try to block the opponent.
Bro, I don't even have a block button.
Farm a raid and beat the rice out your ass.
And champion.
Round 2. Fight.
How you just blocked then if you ain't got... Bro, you don't get your training tutorial combos up out of here.
Bro, I don't have a block button. I can't do anything.
Like when I look at your gameplay, I'm just like, I see why 80 people play this game. Like I just, it's not even their fault specifically, because I'm sure it plays a whole lot better than it looks. But when I see this, I'm just like, I'm good. I wouldn't even want to play this game watching you play it. And you say, oh, people get on the game because of me. Watching you play this would actually make the game company lose money. Not even being funny. If a stranger would have watched this, they'd be like, man, I ain't about to buy this game.
Bro, I can't even wake up meter. I can't do anything, bro. I don't have a block button.
Sorry it came to this.
Brutality.
And no, I don't have a fucking block button, like I said. I don't have a meter or block button. There's no way I would have lost to that sorry ass player.
Nah, he put the beats on you. Stomped a mud hole in that ass.
Hold up.
See, that's how you properly rage quit. You wait till the match is over. You finish the match. And if you done, then you could just quit out that lobby and don't play them again. Boom, there you go.
Round 1. Fight.
Oh, here we go with them premium layers. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. If I was them, I would take projectiles off the game. Or I would make it to where the projectiles had like a 3-second cooldown for you could use them again. Just to spite you. Just to spite you specifically to make you play the game differently. Or until you got off of it and stopped playing it and then put it back. Like, that's wild, bro. Like, you really, is that really fun to you? Like, that's really what I'm wondering. Is that entertainment to you? So you sit, like, just to put it into perspective of what you sit around and do. You play games you don't like. Don't even play the games you don't like right. Then you talk about how busy you are not doing nothing. Yo, bro, you gotta get your life together. I don't, like, I'm just saying, bro, like, this is crazy. You gotta do, I don't know if that's your kid, bro, go like be a dad or something, or learn some skills, man. This is miserable. You know, typically I laugh, but I'm like, man, is this your existence? It's like, golly, bro. Yeah, it's kind of depressing, man. Get your life together, man. Get your life together.
Just repeated the same combo twice.
Nah, we not doing that. Not after what you just did. Nope. Let's move forward.
Take too long.
Shut the f up and stop touching little kids. What the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? Stop touching little kids.
I'm glad I kept it going. I was about to skip past that. I just wanted to see what happened when cause you knew he was gonna lose, but it just oh, that's funny. It's not true. He's not doing that, but it's still it's fun. I'm conflicted. I know I shouldn't laugh at that because it ain't he's not doing that to children, but it's still I'm smiling, but it's not funny. All right, I'm smiling, but it's not funny.
Damn. God,
Stop touching
ooh, I want to just, bro. The first nigga I play is a stalker.
In all fairness, bro, there's only like 80 people playing this game, so I mean the odds of you running into some type of troll is like 180%. I'm just saying, bro. I think they concurrent players at one time is like 20. Okay, I'm being facetious, all right? But it's low. It's low enough to where you're gonna see the same people every 3 to 4 matches. I'm just saying. So even if they even queue, there's a good chance that they're gonna come across you.
The same dude.
No, I think that might be a different person. I just think a lot of people troll you the same way, so they kind of run together. But I think that's a different person. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna leave a comment below in the section to let me know if it is or isn't. I'm just saying, it's still pretty funny because you know he's mentally untouchable, and regardless what you say or what you do, you can't phase him because he is mentally untouchable and can't be bothered. So he says, and also, oh, I almost forgot. If you trolling him and you don't have a 6-pack, you don't have abs, you don't have muscles, you got a little bit of a belly, you got love handles, bro, he ain't even trying to hear nothing you talking about. He just ignores it. It just goes over his head.
Bro, if I could purge.
You know, usually when people think to themselves, when they make certain statements and the way certain statements start, they think to themselves like, hey, that may not be the appropriate thing to say live on stream, but for you, nah, it just doesn't register. It just doesn't, whatever that is that tells you not to do that. It's just not there.
That would be the first to be Jeffrey Dahmer.
You do, in my trip, you do know what Jeffrey Dahmer used to do to his victims, right? Hold on, bro. Let me look it up, make sure I'm not tripping. So, I can't even put that on the screen what he did, but let's just say it involves some Resident Evil type behavior. Let's just say Resident Evil attraction type of behavior. Let's just say extremely offensive preservation of body parts behavior. On top of that, dealing with little boys, and I get you may be irritated and or upset, but that's not helping. If he gets on stream and tells you to stop doing something like that, and the first thing that you say is, if there was a purge, Jeffrey Dahmer is what comes out of your mouth. He was known for doing things to boys, and I'm gonna just say this. If you don't know what his crimes are and you're unfamiliar watching this, go read it. go read it. And it was men and boys, but on that stream it said stop dealing with kids, and you bring up that person. You're not beating them allegations saying stuff like that. The zesty void is on full effect here.
The first to be Dextered, anything you could possibly imagine. You got this pussy ass nigga still coming on here with this pedo bullshit every time I fucking cut on this game.
Now, as far as this, I think you probably like try to beat him up or something, but as far as that's a whole nother level.
Bro, these niggas align their life up when I cut on video games to keep spewing the same bullshit. Bro, that nigga's hop every time I played the game. This pussy bitch ass nigga I would obliterate IRL.
In real life.
Literally comes on here the exact same time every time. Don't matter what time of the night. It could be 3:40 a.m. This nigga will try to line up and play the game to say some stupid shit on the mic. These niggas have no lies, bro. I would obliterate your ass in person. How about you just come pull up, bro? I'm pretty sure you already know what's up. Pull up. Say that shit to me IRL.
In real life.
I promise you your ass won't go home. Pussy ass online nigga. Bitch ass nigga.
Now, here's the one thing that I will say. There was recently that situation with those YouTubers where the dude took out the guy and his wife. I know you probably seen the story. So as far as this internet stuff, it can get real. So with him saying what he's saying, I never put it past that he would never crash out and do anything. And I don't ever put it past to say that anybody would not or would do something. Because the thing is, before a person does something like that, they hadn't done something like that. So I just want to put that out there. So, you know, just remember this. A lot of this stuff, people, you know, you're on the internet, you don't know the people on the internet. You know, it ain't that deep. Of course, people are annoying and people will annoy people. But remember, it's not worth jail or winding up not going home behind it. And when it gets to a point where people are that mad and it's just little by little, the threats are getting more egregious. You know, you probably don't want to test it, because even then he could crash out on who he thinks is you. and go too far. And I'm not saying they do that, but hey, you know, in the real world, I mean, anything can happen. You know, there's also been times where there'll be a person that you wouldn't expect to do something, and they do it. So I just want to say that. I'm not saying he will, I'm not saying he won't, but just keep that in mind. Now, let's go ahead and head on to our next segment.
You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken, just on the thing, you pull it off, and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man.
The great. Also, he a black man, so I'm not really trying. I don't really slander black people like that. You know, that's my people. So understand whatever he says. If I agree with it, cool. If I disagree with it, I'm just talking about what he's talking about. It's no shade type of shit. It's sad that I have to say that, but you know, you little bird ass, chatty patty ass will run to another content creator if I disagree with somebody and be like, "Yo, TBH was talking."
No lie, people be mad messy, bro. Be over here trying to start all kind of drama. Yep, just like their idols, academics, and Adam 22. They like to sit there and start these little fires and watch them play out. But let's go ahead and continue.
Act like sometimes. We just talking about the argument. So that I feel like that goes without saying. We're just talking about the argument. Let's see what he's talking about. All right, modern gaming sucks.
Gaming nowadays sucks.
Okay, now brother, I'm gonna stop you right there. You already done messed up. I got a backlog so backed up, I can't even keep up with all the games that I'm trying to beat and play right now. Cut it out.
And there's no more good games to play. Saying that is probably the
Someone.
Hold up, let me mute these notifications real quick. Shout out to Salem Witches with the sub. Appreciate it. Let me run it back.
Gaming nowadays sucks, and there's no more good games to play. Saying that is probably the easiest way to trigger most modern gamers. However, if y'all actually took
this shit got 23,000 likes. How many views it got? It must have like 1 million views.
the time to listen to them people who say that, I promise you realize that they kind of have a point.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. A lot of the things that they're doing on some games sucks, but the reality is a lot of stuff that you just outgrew and don't realize you outgrew it. And then on another note, is just things that ran their course.
Cause see, most people.
Oh, so he agrees modern gaming sucks. I disagree, but I'm gonna hear him out. I would say a better argument is modern gaming has problems, which goes back to my argument is always people need to expand their vocabulary. But does modern gaming suck as a whole? No, there's more game releases than ever.
Yeah, man, that's one of them things. Like, you got to really stop playing the same 3 games over and over again and then complaining about them. If all you play is Assassin's Creed, if all you play is Call of Duty, if all you play is 2K, you get what I'm saying? If you keep playing the same 5 games, obviously there ain't gonna be no games. Obviously, quote unquote, modern gaming is gonna suck because you already beat this game. You keep playing the same game over and over, expecting a different result. 2K community? Like, what are we talking about? Mario community? And then they want to get mad at Power World. Like, come on now. Don't sit here and say there's no games, man. Like, what are we talking about? And then I almost forgot GTA. Like, how long did they sit here on GTA? Like 7 to 10 something years. Like, you know how long people were playing Grand Theft Auto, but there ain't no games.
But there's more good games than ever. But I'm gonna hear him out.
Most people who say that come from an era where you didn't have to quote expand your horizons to find a good game.
Bro, did you just say to not have to expand your horizons to find a good game? Are you kidding me? Okay, listen. If you don't try things, how do you know that you gonna even like it? If you see a different type of game, you have to try it to see if you like it. Because if you keep playing the same type of game, you're gonna keep winding up with the same result. That's like saying you play nothing but Souls games, but get tired of Souls games. Say, man, I'm tired of these games doing the same thing. Well, maybe you should play Tetris or something else. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you should play Little Nightmares. Play Resident Evil. Play something else. Stop playing the same type of game because you're going to keep getting the same result. Talking about, I need to expand my palette. Yes, you do need to expand it. You about to get the fraud alert, bro.
Because back in the day, if you wanted to find a good game, it was easy. Here you go.
See, I don't like that, chat. I ain't gonna lie, I don't like that. So the first part of your argument is you think it's wrong. People are saying in order to find a good game, you need to expand your horizons. That's not like an argument. Because the opening part of your argument is I'm closed-minded. I don't understand.
See what I'm saying? There ain't no games. Like, think about what you said, bro. There ain't no games. But why do I need to explore games to find a good game? people, y'all gotta, like, reading and comprehension is at an all-time low. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be funny. I think you really have to, if you're going to be speaking to the public, you really have to understand what you're saying and what in the message you're conveying before you say it. You got to really think about what you say before you say it. I can't, all these modern games suck, but I don't want to try anything different than what I've already been playing. That's the same type of game over and over again. Come on now, bro. You got to do better.
What? Why? Let me ask y'all, why are we so against trying something besides chicken tenders and cheeseburgers? Why? I like cheeseburgers, I like pizza, I like chicken tenders. But why are we so against that? That's not an argument. I gotta be honest. That's not an argument. But I'm gonna let them rock.
Horizons to find a good game. Because back in the day, if you wanted to find a good game, it was easy. Here you go. No sports, that's fine. Here you go. Want a good detective noir story? There you go. Wanted a shooting game with some over-the-top gunfights? Here you go.
Before I even because I know TBH about to cook. You didn't put Onimusha on there. You didn't put Devil May Cry in there. You didn't put Ico on there, which is a PS2 puzzle game. You didn't put Obscure on there. And this is what my point is. If you're gonna be referencing games, you need to put different categories. Like every game that you brought up should have been from a different category or a different type of category. Like Onimusha is not an action slicer like Devil May Cry. Them are two, they use a sword on both of those games, but they're two completely different types of games. Now, you have your Streets and your Maddens, but that's about as far as it goes. You didn't have no puzzle games on there. You didn't have no horror on there. You didn't have no problem solving games on there for real. You left out a lot of categories of games saying that all gaming then was that good, but you leaving out a whole bunch of categories of games that were good.
So now his argument is there was more variety back in the day. That's not true. There's more variety in 2025 than it was back in this era or any era. New games are releasing every single day, whether we're talking about AAA or indie games. So that's just factually wrong. When we was younger, you had maybe one or two games that would release a month because gaming was dominated by third-party publishers.
No, not even a month. Back in the day, games used to release like every 2 to 3 months. They did not drop games back to back like that. When Samurai Warriors or whatever that game was called, Dynasty Warriors, that's what it's called. When that dropped, you didn't get another sword type of game or hack and slasher like that for a whole nother 2 to 3 years. When they dropped the Grand Theft Auto, that was it. There was not another Grand Theft Auto for another 2 to 3 years. When they dropped the Resident Evil, there was not another Resident Evil for 2 to 3 years. Them games were not dropping like that. There might be a total of maybe 3 to 4 games that would drop at one time or maybe every few months, because like during the holiday season they would drop it. But there was not, releases were not that rampant at all. And on top of that, he talking about Xbox, you don't even have Kingdom Under Fire on there. You see what I'm saying? A strategic war game. You don't even, you know what I'm saying? And even then, bro, y'all remember, like, for those of you who were probably born in the late 2000s, you may not be familiar with this. When you used to go to GameStop and get Game Informer, you wouldn't hear about these games a year or two in advance, like maybe 6-7 months in advance. You would have to wait for these games to release, and you would get updated through Game Informer, because that was the only place that you can find out about these games and what was going on outside of the demos that were on the discs. Yeah. So let's come on now. There's way more games releasing now. Let's not do that now.
I mean, AAA publishers, but it wasn't really indie games. Indie games didn't really come into the scene until maybe like the PS4 era. They first started to trickle in towards the end of the 360 era. But from the 360 PS3 back, it was nothing but AAA games, really. So to argue there was more variety back then, I don't agree with that.
GTA, but not GTA. Here you go.
Wait, what did he say?
Here you go. One of the shooting game with some over-the-top gunfights. Here you go. Want GTA, but not GTA. Here you go.
So he's arguing there was, not only you arguing that there was more variety back in the day, which is just factually incorrect.
But not GTA.
Then your example for more variety is Sleeping Dogs. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to cook you right here, dog. This has got to be rage bait or something like that. So you said there's less variety than compared back in the day. And then the example you said is Back in the day, if you didn't want to play Grand Theft Auto, you played Sleeping Dogs. This is a terrible example, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why this is a terrible example. Sleeping Dogs is a great game. If you follow my content, you know I always advocate for Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah, Sleeping Dogs was fire. It was, I think it was like a free download on Xbox when I played it. Yeah, I was surprised. I had never heard of it before that. But you know, when you just try games, you find out that you like games.
So don't think I'm talking about the quality of the game. I agree with him. The quality of the game is great. I reviewed this game on my channel years ago, 10 plus years ago, whenever it had came out. But you can't argue that variety for games was better back in the day and then pick Sleeping Dogs as a good alternative to GTA when Sleeping Dogs was financially a failure. Which goes against your entire argument that there was better variety back in the day. Was there? Because didn't nobody buy Sleeping Dogs? Fun fact, the reason we never got a Sleeping Dogs 2 is because it didn't sell well. So I don't know if that's a good argument, or at least a good example. You could have maybe he could have used a better example if he wanted to argue for variety, but Sleeping Dogs financially was a failure. So they wasn't checking for this shit back then, which goes back to the original argument of y'all need to expand your horizons because most people did not play this game.
Yeah, which really messes up the theory because what he's saying is basically to make it clear, it ain't saying that since it didn't sell well that it's proved that it wasn't a good game or nothing like that. What it's saying is you weren't trying these games. You weren't playing these games like you think you were. You may have played it, specifically you, but for this game to have been a financial failure, people were not trying games. So you couldn't complain about it. It kind of defeats the argument to say that there's all this variety when people weren't playing it. Same thing with NFL Street, same thing with NBA Jam. Quote unquote, there's all this variety, but people weren't playing it. Yeah, they're cult classics for those who played the game. NBA Street's a cult classic for those who played the game. But if a lot of people didn't play it, they didn't even give it a chance.
GTA, but not GTA? Here you go. Need a racing game? Here you go. No microtransactions, by the way. Nick.
I'll give him that. He is 100% right on the microtransaction. Those are that's when a big destruction of gaming has happened. So if he wants to have an argument as far as microtransactions coming into the game and them not giving you the full game and trying to milk you for characters and things like that, he has a very valid point, and I would agree with that right there. But that's why I say you have to be concise in your speech and your point versus grazing over it, because when you try to cover a bunch at one time, then you start to miss your points, or you don't explain it all the way through. And once they took on that Clash of Clans model, because that's what happened right around 2014, 2015, when they found out how much money these mobile games were making, that was officially the end. But I'm gonna tell you the real nail in the coffin that really ruined gaming, it was Killer Instinct. When Killer Instinct came out and then they found out that they could sell you characters individually for 99 cents to $1.99 a piece, everybody else followed suit. So Killer Instinct is one of the biggest games to blame for that. And if you're wondering, like, why don't I blame the consumers? Because it was new to the market, so people didn't really truly understand what they were supporting for real. But after Killer Instinct and then Street Fighter came out, Street Fighter 5 came out with that crap and did the exact same thing. Street Fighter has never in history partially dropped a roster like that. Dropped a little bit of a roster and then dripped it to you and sold you seasons. Never before. That was after Killer Instinct got away with it. Street Fighter did that. Then Tekken did it. Then everybody else started doing it. And you know, as long as you guys keep supporting it, then they're going to keep being bad on that end. But that's when you have to step away and make them understand and vote with your wallet and try other games and give other people a chance versus playing the same games 1,000 times.
This, even this. I mean, goddamn, bro, I can keep going. Then y'all say
he's naming off tons of bangers. I agree. Those are all bangers. The problem is this era is full of bangers too. Also, if you go back, here's another, and this is why I feel like this is a little bit, I don't know if I want to say disingenuous, but I disagree. There are a lot of, all these things that he listed are bangers, but the problem with comparing that era back then is there was more dog shit too. I feel like we look back at this stuff with like nostalgia and we forget all the dog shit that came out.
Yes. And as somebody who actually currently plays these games, I actively go back and play these games. Dude, when I tell you I can't sit through them, like I said, there's certain games that are just eternal bangers like Streets of Rage, Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtles, Punisher, Duke Nukem, and even Duke Nukem is still kind of difficult to make it through because it was cool for its time. But a lot of these games, like trying to play them now, they do not hit the same. Like you may have been able to play some of these games then, but now all the camera fixes, all of the quality fixes, the higher graphics. Again, I'm not talking about the realistic graphics. I'm just talking about where you can see the depth and things working. Like Fable's still one of these classic games that lasted through the test of time. You know, Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, these are games that lasted the test of time. But a majority of these games were only good because of when they came out. They didn't hold up. A lot of them did not hold. Go back and play some of these Xbox games. They didn't hold up like you think they did. It was good for its time, but no, you get the games now are far better than they were. They are, trust me. Like, for example, you had that Bruce Lee game on Xbox. You had that NFL Fever. You know what I mean? You had Soul Reaver. Like, we could just keep going down the line of these games. DOA 2 held up. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 held up. There was some game, Grind Session probably would still hold up. But a lot of these games did not. House of the Dead still holds up. But there was a lot of duds, man.
Like Toomba, disingenuous. There were so many broken, half-ass shovelware games that came, especially in the Wii era. Oh my God. And this is why I said that this is the first time in a long time where I agree with the internet when it comes to dogpiling on Mind's Eye, aka Pink Eye, because Mind's Eye is objectively a bad game. But there were tons of Mind's Eyes back in the day. Matter of fact, the original G4, when it was just Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb, they used to have a whole section just dunking on broken ass games. So like, once again, this is very disingenuous. You sound like one of them old heads that be talking about new rappers as if back in the 90s and early 2000s there weren't whack rappers.
What did I just say? You know what I'm saying? For those of you who follow me and you keep up with the content, what did I just say? When they complained, I think it was on the matter of fact, I think it may have been the Lil Wayne Carter 6 album when they was expecting this fool to rap like somebody else and they're getting upset with Wayne. I'm like, Wayne is Wayne. Like, why are you listening to Wayne expecting something different? Like, people are getting upset with Wayne because Wayne's being Wayne versus going to listen to somebody else, going to listen to Simba or anybody else. When you got all these other people to listen to in their category of what you're looking for, but you get mad at Lil Wayne because Lil Wayne's not rapping. Like, he didn't go from rapping like an 18-year-old Lil Wayne to a 45-year-old Lil Wayne when he been party Wayne his whole life. But they mad, but man, he just talking about money, doing drugs and women. He ain't even talking about nothing. And then it was talking about how nowadays these rappers versus rappers in the old days. And this is when I circle back to what TBH just said. I said a lot of rappers were whack then too. A lot of them were. And a lot of them were clones. They were very poor versions of the famous clones. It's always been that way. But for some reason, people have revisionist history thinking that everything was great. The stuff was not as good as you thought it was. It's just because you were a kid when you were consuming the entertainment. But consuming that entertainment as an adult, no, it's not as good as you think it was. However, you were exposed to more of the hits than everything. So what you heard, it was the top notch of the whole project. So it just seemed like everything was fire because back then the quality assurance was different. We have more fire now than we've ever had before, but now it's on the independent consumer to find it and seek it out because the oversaturation of the market. That's just how it goes. So it exists, it's there. The good stuff is there. It's just now you have to find it because they don't market it to you like they used to.
There were a ton of whack rappers. There were a ton. I'd argue there were more terrible, horrible games back then. Now, what I will say is, obviously, he's right about the microtransactions part. And that's why I said I think the better argument is not modern gaming sucks. It's that modern gaming has a lot of problems, but as a whole, it doesn't suck. There's tons of bangers. But I'm going to let him keep rocking. I'm not going to lie. So far, I'm disagreeing across the board. And these are bad examples.
Microtransactions, by the way, Vids.
Whoa, sir. Wait a minute. State of emergency. That game was ass. That game was ass then and it's ass now. That was probably one of the most sorriest ass games that I ever had in my possession. and I bought that joint for like $4.99. And I didn't even fit that game. I gotta plug this one, cause bro, I might have to hit you with the fraud alert, bro. Like, I want to be completely clear here. This old Crazy Taxi, this discount Temu Crazy Taxi destruction game right here. This was variety right here. This was variety. That right there. Hit the windows. No, and we're gonna go forward too. We're gonna go forward. We ain't done. Let's go to another stage. Let's see. Oh, okay. Because these games were so much better. These games were so much better, right? Like, yo, don't let your nostalgia have you saying something ridiculous. So I just want to be clear here. This was better than the games that came out that are coming out now. Bro, you tripping. Like, look at the buildings. You can't go inside the buildings. The hitboxes don't even work. There ain't no like skill tree or nothing like that, or no real. The game almost feels pointless. It just feels like you could just go around and do whatever. It seems very unorganized. It feels not grounded. And to sit here and say that there's, even if you were to just play a random game of today, it will be aesthetically, cosmetically, the way it plays, the functionality will be better. Even if you don't even like the story, even the story will be better than that game. That was a horrible example.
Even this, I mean, goddamn, bro, I can keep going.
Then y'all say the only people who say that are people who only play 2K and Madden.
Do realize that those same people are the people who had.
Well, that's true. Most people who do say that, they play these games.
Had more than 2K and Madden back in the day. Let me walk you through it real quick. See, back then, we didn't need to just rely on Madden for our football fix. We could go NFL Street. We could go ESPN 2K5. We could go NFL Blitz. We could go NFL Game Day. Hell, let's do it. NFL Quarterback Club. Bro, we didn't need just 2K. We had NBA Street. We had NBA Jam. Man, I bet half of y'all ain't even heard of NBA Shootout. ESPN Basketball. NBA Inside Drive. The GOAT of them all, NBA Live. We had.
Now, that's valid. I'll give him that. That is valid. In terms of his argument about variety, the first half of when he was talking about variety, I disagree and he used terrible examples. But if we're talking about sports games in specific and variety, that's valid.
Yep, he's 100% right. Now I got to ask the question now. Now we got to shift the blame. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that this happened? Who keeps buying Madden every year? Who keeps buying 2K every year? Who keeps generating them billions of dollars every year to where they can keep doing this over and over and serving you slop over and over? If I'm not mistaken, I believe there is a very specific creator who goes off about this every year. His name is Angry Joe.
I'll give him that. Although I'd argue most of those games he listed were dog shit, and that's why they don't exist anymore. They didn't sell well. One of the reasons why NBA Live and NBA 2K took over the NBA arena is because those were the definitive basketball games. They were better. They sold well. Same thing with NBA Street. That's the one. There's a reason why most people remember NBA Street and not NBA Ballers. Not that NBA Ballers was terrible.
And also another thing that has to be posed too. One thing that I also heard from a lot of the sports games players was like, whenever you would be able to do the more creative gameplay or the fun gameplay where you could foul people and injure them, like on NFL Blitz, you know what they would say? Man, that ain't no real football, ain't no real basketball. So again, they didn't want to try anything. They didn't even want to give it a chance. You could have had your animated version and you could have had your real version. What was wrong with playing a cartoonish arcadey version and having the one from when you wanted to play for real to be serious? There's a reason why there's Street Fighter, and there's a reason why there's Tekken. There's a reason why there was Soul Calibur. There's a reason why there was Fight Night in UFC. Based on how you played the game, there was different games in different categories. There would be different things you're in the mood for. If you wanted to be more technical, if you just wanted to punch it out like Ready to Rumble, there was games that were there for that. But what happened was people did not support it. They were very closed-minded and only wanted to try specific things and only wanted to play specific things. So again, this same conflict goes on today. It is no different than it was then.
It's just, you know, it was a second tier game. All those football games he named, like NFL Game Day and all that stuff, like they just didn't sell well as the other ones. So also another problem with the variety thing, and I got to kind of give him a half point. Another issue with sports variety is, at least on the football side, and it might happen to 2K, unfortunately, because we had an article. They just signed a deal with the NBA. The reason there's no variety with football games is because of the exclusivity license. That doesn't mean that gaming as a whole or sports games as a whole suck. What that means is capitalism is a fucking problem.
Yup. Shout out to all y'all who generated them billions of dollars year over year, which is why they still going up in the stock market. Shout out to all of y'all who keep on buying GTA and only playing one game for 10 years. Shout out to all y'all who spending $80 to $90 on a game that ain't even a physical copy. And then want to complain about it after when you keep getting slopped. Shout out to you, because I tell you one thing, if they dropped that game and they weren't generating any money, guess what they would do? Get rid of the license. They would not keep the license if they weren't making the money. If you put your foot down and say, if you keep giving me a sorry game, I'm not gonna support it. How many of y'all frauds was in the line to go buy a Nintendo Switch 2? How many of y'all bought it? I already knew you were. I said you were. I already said it. I knew you were. We both knew you were. Because you all talk. Everybody be on this internet complaining just like with them OF girls. You do all that talking, but yet you still on a subscription, boy. Stop. Like, stop. Be quiet. Sit down.
Capitalism is the issue. Like when you mentioned the microtransactions and stuff like that, it all goes back to capitalism. EA is greedy. They bought the exclusive license, and now we can't get more football games. But that doesn't mean football. We don't know if football games suck. Matter of fact, I'd argue they probably don't, because the last time football games had competition with 2K Football 5, I believe, people love that game. So the last batches, and you just named some ones that you like. So like really it's more of a capitalism. Yeah, 2K5. It's really more of a capitalism problem than variety as a whole. But I'm gonna give you a half a point. It's halfway fair what he's saying. There is less variety, but I'm not gonna lie. In the first half of this video, when you talk about variety again, I don't agree with that at all.
We had variety back then. We had options, and those games came complete. They didn't come with no microtransactions.
Very true. Very true. They giving broken games, partial games, and I'm the type of person too. When I say I'm not playing it no more, I'm not supporting it, I'm not gonna support it. If you drop a game and y'all thought I was playing about Street Fighter, once I got Akuma and I put it down. My mains were Bison and Akuma. Those were my favorite characters on the game, and they dropped them late, and I still had to pay for those characters. I was like, I didn't even get Bison. I was like, I stopped playing the game altogether, because you are not going to sit here and sell me who should have been on the game. If you came out within the first few games, you better be on there. You can add them later, but they better be free. And really, you shouldn't even drop the game till they already done, in my opinion. But I'm gonna tell you the first straw with that. The first strike with me was Soul Calibur. When I had got the Ultimate Edition, and they told, oh well, nah, that didn't apply to this season. I said, nah, this was the Ultimate Edition. I'm supposed to get everything that comes on this game. Like, I bought this joint for $99, and you telling me I need to buy a season pass? Nah, bro, you need to give me everything on here, fool. Simple as that. Nah, it ain't no, well, you know, they don't go to this season. Okay, well, I tell you what's not gonna go to. I bet I won't buy your game again. I bet I'll stop playing it. I'll turn that joint off, stop playing it. And then Nightmare was an issue. Nightmare had a whole glitch thing going on where he was able to spam moves that they never fixed. I never bought another one. And Soul Calibur releases again, I will not buy it. When Tekken comes out again, I will not buy it. When Street Fighter comes out with the next game, I will not buy it. You have free will to do whatever you want and whatever you like. But I'll tell you what you're not gonna do. You got me once. You ain't gonna get me again. You can bet on that.
Y'all remember when this dropped? Yeah, this shit wouldn't have happened back then. Stop getting upset with people when they say that there ain't no more good games left.
That's not true. That's not true. I'm not gonna lie, I gotta ask Stoney, how long you been playing games, man? There were plenty of broken games back then. Nigga, Superman 64? There were tons of Superman 64s, and I'd argue it was almost worse because back then, you couldn't patch the shit.
You ever remember going to Blockbuster, for those of you who are older, a Hollywood Video, and you were renting a game that you thought would have been good because the game you really wanted was already rented out and they only had like 2 or 3 copies, and you rented out something else and you wound up being stuck with that joint all weekend and you couldn't play nothing else because games were just not readily available like that, and your parents weren't just about to go out there and buy you a $50 game like it was nothing? Yeah, those of you who was around with Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and all that, or any of them game rental places, you know, you may have forgot, but don't when Rampage or Max Payne, whatever that new game was you was looking for was not there, and you went to Blockbuster and you was too late and you had to go when your parents got out of work at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and all that was left was the leftovers. Yeah, and they were not about to go to no 4 or 5 other blockbusters to find it. But don't even get me started. Don't even get me started, bro.
Don't get me wrong. Cyberpunk, I hated this game at launch. I agree. This shit was ass at launch. And it's annoying that they patched the shit and they fixed it, but at least they can. But this is a disingenuous argument. I'm not gonna lie. How long you been gaming? I gotta ask. It was tons of broken games back then. Yeah, the Matrix game. Yeah, I'm like, are you...
The Spawn game, and then there was like this other Driver game. Bro, there's a long list of games. Like, there's so many. Like, I can't even name them all. Then not to mention the Street Fighters and some of those Capcom games, they were not the same game you played in the arcade. So the one you actually got on the console was like a rip-off Temu version of the real version that you wanted to rent. Them joints was duds. So all the stuff that you wanted to do in the game you wanted to play wasn't even the right game. It was like a watered-down version of the actual game you wanted to play. Yeah, it on how quickly some forget.
Is this rage bait?
Love when you got games like this that come out and it take them.
Yeah, Sonic 06. Thank you. The chat, Bubsy. Sonic 06 is a classic case. Niggas was falling through the map and shit like that. You couldn't fix the game either.
Fucking years to fix the shit. Because when this dropped, it was finished. It was complete. Wasn't no goddamn patch. Oh yeah, y'all remember this? Midnight releases? Ain't no more of that shit. This was a...
That's only because at that time it was physical copies and you had to be first to get it. People were not showing up because they wanted to be there. They were showing up because that was the only way to get the game when it released. That was it. If you missed it, that game was not going to be available for a long time. So that's why they were waiting. But now that people can get it digital, it ain't even that deep anymore. They just get it digital and play it at release and already have it downloaded, ready to go. So that's not really a good argument on that.
Vital part of gaming culture when there was games that was worse.
I think he's being genuine, but he just might be ignorant to the situation. You said it yourself, the sales didn't matter when it comes to great games. I agree. No, that's any piece of art. Sales doesn't matter when it comes to great art. I completely agree. But his argument is like variety or whatever. I'm like, I just completely disagree with that. What is he talking about with it?
And to understand the difference in what he's saying as far as those numbers is what he's saying is one, it was a financial failure. That does not mean it was a bad game. Unfortunately, even if it's a good game, if it does not sell well, it's considered a failure. So it's kind of like one of those oxymoron situations where, like, I know it's kind of like you want to understand what he's saying because it sounds like he's contradicting himself, but there's a very fine line in those definitions. So basically what he's saying is, yes, the game was good. He liked the game. But as far as the public, it failed. It did not sell well. So it was considered a failed game. And if you circle back to the point, it's because people did not try it. They did not play the game. Because you're talking about the variety, but nobody played it. Enough people did not, nobody, but enough people did not play it for them to make another one. That's why there's only one of that game. But the people who played it, they loved it. But the problem is, it's the same issue that was there before. Y'all don't play games. Like, a lot of y'all talk about all these games you play. Y'all do not play games. You play Fortnite, you play Call of Duty, you play GTA, and you play Madden and 2K. That's it. Y'all don't play games. Y'all play the same branch of games over and over again like y'all have always done. You play your main game releases. You don't try anything else. Now, back at that time, I understand you don't want to try nothing else because games were not readily available. And if you messed up and chose something sorry, you got stuck with it for like a week or the weekend. And that, as a kid, the last thing you want to do is have a sorry ass game on the weekend. So I give you a pass back then, not wanting to try too much because the risk was, it just wasn't worth it. And you couldn't look it up. There were no trailers for the game. You just had to look at the cover and take a chance. So yeah, I give them a pass then. But these days, there's no excuses. Anytime you see it, they actually got the trailer right there. You could just watch it right now and see if that's something you would like, or maybe you want to try it out. And even then, if you got Game Pass, hell, most of these games are free to try, and y'all still don't play them. You know, crazy.
GameStop stuff. There's plenty of variety. There's more variety than ever. I'd argue there's too much variety, and that's why I'd argue it's there's too much variety now because games are releasing all the time between AAA and indie.
Not even to cut them off, bro. There's so, like, just in my roster alone, I'll just go through my list of games that I want to play. I gotta finish Kazan. I still gotta finish Blood and Money, that one I was playing with the little dragon. It was kind of like the side scroller. I still gotta beat the dragon on that game, which that has to be bought. That was not a free game. It was, I think it was like $7.99 or something like that when I got it. Then you got that new Capcom fighter, Tokon. Then you got that new Invincible game getting ready to come out. You got that darn Wu Chang on the way out. You got the new Resident Evil. You get, like, dude, there's so many games coming out. I gotta look. I'm at the point now where I'm looking for somebody else to play it a little bit to see what I won't like about the game, to not play it, because at this point I want to beat all these, and I don't even have enough time to beat all the games that I want to beat. So to sit there and say that there's no games, bro, you got to be honest with yourself and just say you don't play games. Like, I'm gonna just keep it real with you. And I still need to. I didn't even know. I did not know that game was broken. That one that got updated, it became 2.0, Lords of the Fallen. I got such a log that I have so many games to play. I'm forgetting about games, bro. Just say you don't play games. Like, let's just end this conversation and say you don't play games, and it's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't know what you're talking about. With all due respect,
that it creates choice paralysis. There's so much content out here, and there's only so much budget going towards advertising that a lot of people are unaware of these great games. And that's on the publisher for not advertising. I'd argue the market is saturated right now.
Goddamn patch. Oh yeah, y'all remember this? Midnight releases? Ain't no more of that shit. This was a vital part of gaming culture when there was games that was worth standing outside all goddamn night for. Oh yeah, y'all.
That's not a fair argument. That's not a fair argument. I think that's nostalgia talking. Now your argument is gaming is not great, and the reason gaming is not great anymore is because nobody waits outside for GameStop games. The reason nobody waits outside is not because the games are bad. It's because there are more people buying digitally than physical. That's one of the reasons why they're phasing out physical discs right now. And that's why I keep trying to preach for game preservation. But the reason people aren't waiting in line for midnight releases is not because of the quality of the game. I mean, look at the Switch 2 and Mario Kart. People waited in line for that. Sometimes they will do that. But for the most part, people don't wait in line anymore is because most people are buying games digitally. I believe it's like 70 to 80% of gamers are buying games digitally. Most people are not buying discs because it's convenient. Why go to the store when you could just download it at midnight? Especially if you're a content creator, you can download the game at midnight and boot up your stream and get those views. So no, it has nothing to do with the quality of the game. It's the world evolved. We're living in a digital age.
And I'm gonna keep it real with you. Time is money. The last thing I'm gonna be doing is standing in the line waiting 3 and I don't care what game it is. I'm a huge fan of Devil May Cry. A huge fan of it. I was a huge fan of Blitz. I have a few titles that I'm a huge fan of. I'll tell you what I'm not gonna do. I am not waiting in no line for no 4.5, 5 hours, standing there in the cold or the heat or whatever it is, or waiting in my car or for no damn video game. It's not gonna happen. It is not gonna happen. That might just be nostalgia for you or something that you miss, but that is heavily inconvenient. And no, even as a grown ass person, if you're doing that, hey, to each his own. But I ain't doing that. I don't give a damn what game it is.
Ain't no more of that shit. This was a vital part of gaming culture when there was games that was worth standing outside all goddamn night for. Oh yeah, y'all remember this? Probably not. Couch co-op. The fuck happened here? Another very vital part of gaming culture that was.
No disrespect to Stoney. I gotta hit the fraud button for you, dog. I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta question your palate when it comes to games. One of the best games of 2025 is a couch co-op game. Split Fiction. Did you play it? That's a couch co-op game. There are plenty of couch co-op games.
And not to cut them off, but this is the one thing that I say. And again, this is no disrespect. This ain't no hate videos, not a beef video, because y'all on the internet do too much. Before you start to speak on certain topics or you're making very strong stances or statements, you have to really verify before you say that. Because when you're making an argument to say like, oh, there's none of this, there's none of that. Well, dude, Nintendo's system is notorious. They're known for couch co-op games. That's what their business is built around. Sony's built around solo player more times than not. And then you have Xbox, which they're kind of in the middle. They have a little bit of everything. But in turn, like at the beginning, you said, why do we have to expand the palette? Why do we have to try new things? They just used to exist. So you can't make, you see what I'm saying? You can't make a statement like that and then say that these games aren't there, because you even said, I'm not trying different things. I don't want to have to look for something else. I don't want to have to search for a good game and then say that these games don't exist. That's not how quality works. That's not how you find what you're looking for.
What's the name? The Ninja Turtle game that came out last year. And then the other Marvel one that's coming out, couch co-op. It Takes Two, Overcooked. Like, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know about this. And then also, if you want to make the argument, maybe there's not as much couch co-op, maybe. But even still, then my counter argument to that is we live in a digital age. Most people are playing online. Most kids don't play outside anymore. They're not going to their friend's house. They're just gonna hop on Fortnite and hop in Discord and talk to one another. So once again, I don't know, but this is not a good argument, because literally one of the games that's going to get nominated for Game of the Year is a couch co-op game. So then I gotta ask, if you ever see this, did you play Split Fiction? It's one of my favorite games this year.
Swiped away from us because of corporate greed. Oh no, we don't want 4 of y'all sharing one console. We want all 4 of y'all to buy your own console and just play online.
Now this is what I give him. It's a fair argument, but one thing that we have to keep in mind is, because I used to think the same thing too. So he ain't tripping, because it is true. But when you think of couch co-op, you're thinking of James Bond, you're thinking of Duke Nukem, you're thinking of Streets of Rage, you're thinking of games like this, you're thinking of Halo, you're thinking of Gears of War. Maybe even the Terminator screen where it was like one of those scroll shooters. You're thinking of Gauntlet. These games are nowhere near as demanding as the games are today. You cannot play Grounded on the same screen. Just you going from an Xbox One to an Xbox One X is a completely different game. And I played plenty of co-op games that if you were attempting, because you got to think, when they're rendering all these assets and they have the AI and they have all of this functionality working on the computers, on the system, it can only do so much, and it will basically light your system on fire. Like, not literally, but basically it will burn your console up. So if you're trying to render all these assets, all these textures and all that, just rendering a game, like this is just a little game dev knowledge. Just rendering it can take a crazy amount of time. Just to render it. We're not even talking about doing anything yet. Just rendering the detail on the game takes a long time in itself. So you got to think, if you have games where you're building assets like Arc or things like that, where it's having to render all these things, render your motion, render what you're doing. Oh, you take somebody out on the screen. Is the body still going to be there? Is it going to disappear like how it was on James Bond? Keep in mind what a lot of these games are doing. And there are a lot of couch co-op games, but these games are not as demanding. Brawlhallas, the Mario parties, the Mario Karts, the walkthrough beat 'em ups, they're rendering one thing at one time and they're able to centralize it. But if you're talking about open world, different locations, GTA style, bro, you can't do that. It got too much going on. You'll mess around and crash the system. And I could be wrong, but just knowing what I know about computers, hey, just to give you an example, because you probably don't pay no mind, because a lot of times you're doing shorts. Just rendering a video, for example, that has about let's say it's like 5 to 10 gigs, can run your computer hot. It won't burn it up, but this is one process. This is just exporting a video. We're not even talking about running an entire game that you're playing and none of that. Like, and then you talking about putting both of those on one system. Just rendering a video itself can run your computer hot. Just running multiple programs can run your computer hot. If you got open Premiere, depending on what kind of computer you have, if you got a standard computer, keep in mind the powerhouse computer start at about $2,000. Your console's like $400 or $500, so they don't have nearly the power of a computer or a PC. So you're talking about a lesser, basically Game Boy version model of a PC that's portable, that you could just move around. Like, basically, I'm gonna call it the Game Boy of the PC, the Switch of the PC. And you're telling me it's supposed to render all of these assets when an actual PC that's the same amount will struggle to run Photoshop and Adobe Premiere at the same time when you do more than like 2 to 3 files at once. When you render it, when you want to put some effects on it and it can't even do it, and you telling me you're supposed to be in video games with destructible environments, multiple enemies spawning, AI on the enemies where they act on their own. Like, come on, bro, it's too much. So that's, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but that's why I believe they don't do that for all games.
like a bunch of fucking dweebs. Like, damn, bro, whatever happened to family fun games like Guitar Hero?
See, and Guitar Hero is just a video render in the background where you're pushing buttons. There is no interactive, like the only interaction you have is basically Guitar Hero is the equivalent of a Flash game. That is not, you can't equate that to what they have going on now. And it's like, of course, if it's just button scrolling, you just pushing the buttons. You see what I mean? There ain't no destructible environments. It ain't nothing else going on. There ain't no AI enemies, no revenge systems going on, no huge world, nothing. It's nothing. You know, so you can't compare that to these other games that don't allow you to do it. And I'll give you another one because we about the same age. What about at an arcade? What kind of games are co-op at an arcade? What kind of detail did they have at the arcade? You know what I'm saying? When you had like the Houses of the Dead, the Time Crisis, the Street Fighters, you remember the games they had in there? That's why they had couch co-op games in the arcade, because you can only do so much when you're doing two things at once simultaneously. And more times than not, those games were not graphically breaking any boundaries.
Well, it doesn't make you a dweeb because you want to play the game online. It makes you a dweeb if you play fucking Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, because them niggas sip Kool-Aid and Tang and shit. But it doesn't make you a dweeb for wanting to play games online. It's just convenient. It's just convenient. I'm not gonna lie. You sound like the old head, man. Back in my day, we was listening to Nas and Illmatic and shit. We was sitting next to the couch playing Super Smash. I'm not gonna lie, it's giving old head, and I'm old, bro. I'll be 35 in August. I'm old, but I'm not gonna lie, this is giving old head, I miss my childhood type of take. I don't think you that versed in gaming with this. This is a crazy take.
And honestly, I just think it's more nostalgia. I just think you miss what was more than anything. But none of them games from then can compare to now. They cannot, bro. Like, you gotta really go back and play these games, cause I know how you're remembering it. Like, even Def Jam Fight for Me, bro. Play that game now. play that game now, bro. It ain't how you remember it. Trust me. And it was good for its time, but it's not, bro. The controls are janky, the camera janky, the moves are janky, the hitboxes are janky. Bro, they're not what you remembering that they were.
Guitar Hero ended due to capitalism. They put it out, it was successful. Then they put out a whole bunch of games. They saturated the market, a whole bunch of variety that we talked about earlier. It saturated the market, then nobody wanted to buy it. It brought down the value of everything, and people got burned out. It's a trend. It could come back around, but the trend just ended. That's all.
Fucking trying to beat that one song. I don't think y'all realize that when y'all tell people that they have to expand their horizons to find good games, that you're literally proving their point. Because if gaming was currently as good as it always has been, according to y'all, wouldn't nobody have to dig for shit. It would just be readily available in their face.
Bro, it is. You're not looking. You see what I'm saying? You're not even looking for it. There's no such thing as quality that you don't have to look for. Quality does not work that way. It does. As a matter of fact, I'd argue the true quality, you have to find it, because they're not going to advertise it. McDonald's is advertised everywhere, so I guess McDonald's is high quality, right? Because since it's everywhere, since it's not hard to find. Or is you get what I mean? So they're the upper echelon because they're the most visible. That's not how that works. It's like, if you want a good burger, you're gonna have to find it. You're gonna have to go through the city. You're gonna have to see who got the reputation. You're gonna have to look it up. You're gonna have to do research to find quality. That's not how that works, bro.
Oh yeah,
well, that goes back to my argument. The reason you have to deal, what is he about to say? Oh my Lord. The reason you have to dig more is because there's more competition than ever. I don't think y'all understand how many games, like, open up Steam and just go to the new releases section. Every 24 hours, there's so many games coming out.
Stop, TBH. There ain't no games, bro. There ain't no games, man. You know what I mean? There's just, even though there's all these releases, there just ain't no games to play. There ain't no gems in there, man. There's none. Nope. Not like you can't verify, because everybody's posting these videos. It ain't like you can't look it up and verify, like, oh, it looks like something I'd want to play. You don't even have to buy these games. You can literally kind of get a glimpse of what the game plays like or how it plays from another person on YouTube to find out if it's something that you would like. Never in history could you ever do that. You had to mess around and find out and wind up either trying to get a return or getting ripped off from GameStop because you bought something that was trash. Come on now, bro. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, let's take it even further back. Either EB Games or Funko Land. You know, let's take it all the way back. How about Sears? The Sears game section. You know what I'm saying?
So the part of the reason you have to dig is not every publisher has the money to advertise every game. So like me personally, I never heard of Cilantro before it got nominated for Game of the Year. Then I started talking about it on stream. People was like, no, this shit is fire. That game spread old school word of mouth. You have to remember when we were younger, Xbox 360 and back, when a new game came out, it was getting mad commercials because there was less competition. So there was more. And also the budget for video games wasn't as big, meaning it didn't cost $500 million to develop a game. So there was more budget to advertise it. So you take the fact that there's less competition and bigger budget to advertise, and that's why you were more aware of what's available. Also, the world was slower. When games were being previewed, they'd be in magazines. You'd be in the...
See what I'm saying? Like the gate, when it was gate kept and it was still closed in and it wasn't very open. You knew about these games. These games didn't drop back to back. Things were still new. They were still innovating. So every time it came out, it felt groundbreaking because of what they were coming from. The evolution of gaming, even if, let's just talk on a small scale of the evolution from Nintendo to Sega, or from Sega to Sega CD, which flopped, but it wasn't bad. Then to PlayStation, to Sega Dreamcast, to Xbox 360. These jumps and what they were doing, there was always something new that they were able to add. So it just seemed like they were just so much better. But they weren't. They were good for their time, and it was a great time to be alive to see all this happen in real time.
Grocery store reading the magazine about the upcoming games coming out later that year. But with the internet moves so fast. We got Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu. There's so much going on. There's TikTok. There's so many distractions. It's easy to miss stuff. That doesn't mean the quality of gaming has gone bad. It means that we are just fucking distracted. There's too much going on. We are overstimulated, dog. And I'd argue there's way more content than ever.
When people say there ain't no more good games left, please stop suggesting these super niche ass games that only appeal to one type of person.
Bro, I don't want to just spend a whole video like, look, you said so much wrong. I really just don't even want to just keep going in on you, bro, about what you're saying that's incorrect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let TBH wrap up the last bit of what he said, but I just, because it's going to get to a point to where it just seems like dogpiling, because you're just so wrong, bro. You're just so wrong about so many of your takes that you got to do your research. You can't have a closed mind in gaming and then complain there ain't no games, bro. I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to let him wrap it up, but I just don't want to keep, I didn't been going on you about 30 something minutes, and it's just every take bro, you're wrong about 80% of your takes. That's my outlook on everything that you're saying. You're about 80% wrong, bro. So you got to really be, I'm gonna just say, do your research first before you come out making statements like this. Make sure you 100% know what you're talking about. Be sure that you have an open mind. Don't say I got a closed mind and then I can't find something. That's not how that works. All right, so that's just the best advice that I can give to you. But I'm done, because I don't want it to feel like dog piling. And I don't have a problem with the brother. If he feels how he feels, and that's cool, nothing wrong with that. But I'm gonna let TBH wrap it up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move forward.
This has got to be rage bait.
Nah, I don't think so. I just think people are so caught up in their opinion and what they believe, they don't care what anybody got to say about it without no statistics and no proof. And that's the problem. And I do believe he truly believes this, because he does not like, I've heard a lot of people say this, because I don't like it, it's not a good game. That's not how gaming works. That's not how things work. Because I was that person. Like how he's talking, I know it's not rage bait, because I was how he was. At one point in time, you couldn't tell me nothing. I used to be like that about Lupe Fiasco. Man, the kick push dude. Then I heard the cool, and I was like, damn. You know what? After that, because when you got true friends that truly tell you something, and they're like, hey, bro, he ain't who you think he is, fool. I'm telling you now. You need to listen to the cool. You need to listen to them albums, because bro, he's spitting some fire. Now, he really be out here rapping. But you be in your head so much that you think you know. Nah, you don't. You don't know as well as you think you know. That's what I'm gonna chalk it up to. It's not rage bait, and I'm gonna tell you, bro. Stop. Do your research. Don't say stuff like that, because you can't say niche ass game. He's about 15 million cop, bro. That ain't no niche. 15 million, not 1, not 2, not 10, not 100,000. 15 million. No, if you pay $60 a piece for that game, just before like any expenses, it generated over $600 million, bro. What are we talking about?
Today I learned that 15 million copies is niche. A game that won Game of the Year and has sold 15 million copies as of 2023, we don't even know the recent numbers, is considered niche.
See what I mean? See, profit was 270 million. That's basically after all the expenses. So that's not the money it drew in. That's their profit. That's after they've spent the, advertising to produce the game and all of that. They made 270 million after expenses. Yeah, that's, bro, niche game. You gotta do your research, bro. Before you speak on something, and then you put the picture up. Before you speak on something, bro, do your research.
I'm not gonna lie. With all due respect, Stoney, I don't think you play games like that. I think you might have played more games when you were younger, but I don't think you're as in tune with the gaming community as you might think, because I've dismantled this whole argument. I think there's more to play than ever. I do think the publishers can do a better job of advertising stuff. Like an example being Concord, they let that game fucking fail. But that doesn't mean the quality of games has gone down. Now there are problems. Microtransactions, motherfuckers is greedy. Shit, Borderlands 4, they just announced the collector's edition is $150.
The other Saints Row was buns. So again, if you're only looking at AAA games, you gonna keep running against slot, because they're all about microtransactions and pushing narratives and all of that. That's why when they start doing what you don't want them to do, it's a free market. You go somewhere else. But if you're looking at the mainstream games, it's gonna seem like all games have these problems, and they really don't.
And it doesn't include the game, but I think one of gaming's biggest issues right now is greed. It's not the quality. I know several games right now that are going to be nominated for Game of the Year. It's going to be a tough fight, like Expedition 33, Split Fiction, probably Doom, Ghost of Yote. I feel like I'm forgetting one like at the top of my head. What would be a better place to advertise to get the games in front of people's faces? That's the hard part. The Outer Worlds 2. That's the hard part, right? Our attention. So when I was a kid, we used to watch TV and movies.
Yep, it was centralized. It was regulated. So there was not a bunch of places to see things. Yep, you're right about that.
We didn't have TikTok. We didn't have YouTube, right? So it's easy to advertise to somebody because you know exactly where they're going to be. The problem with advertising now is not only do you but so before, because you knew people were either going to be in front of the movie screen or the TV screen at all times, you knew exactly who you wanted to advertise to. So let me give you an example, right? 2001, Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire comes out, right? If I'm an advertiser and I know that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 is coming out and I have a new comic book coming out, I am going to drop an ad before Spider-Man 1 because those are comic book fans going to see that movie. So I'm targeting, it's much easier to target my audience. Nowadays, you got TikTok, YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter, Facebook, IG, so many different things, right? So not only do you have to figure out what platform to be on, probably multiple if you.
And this is what I'm hit you with too. Not only that, when you advertise on certain platforms, you don't even know if you're really even showing up to people, because a lot of these platforms, I'm gonna just say allegedly, when you pay for ads, they're not even really showing them to people. They're doing like basically bot clicks. They'll say something like, okay, for $500, like we'll just use Instagram for example. For $500, you'll potentially show, not that you will, you'll potentially show up between, let's say 20,000 to 40,000 something people, right? And that's potentially. So it's not even a guarantee that you will. And then there's also been rumors and things that I've heard where they're just showing it to people that follow you. So you don't even really know that when you're paying your money, if it's even showing up. Back then with the commercials, it was verifiable that it showed up. You know it showed up. You know who it showed up to.
Got the budget. Then you got to figure out how to target that audience. So to some, it might come across like there's not anything available. There's not any variety. And really, I think it's just we're overstimulated. There's way too much blue sky. Yeah, if you want to. But I'm not going to lie, man. Oof. Stoney, respectfully, I disagree. You gave some... I'm not gonna lie, not only did you give bad, these are horrible takes. This one was horrible. You said Baldur's Gate 3 was a niche game.
And yeah, so basically, you know, also, this is one thing that I'm gonna say, and this is not a beef video, not a diss video, because people on the internet, if you disagree with somebody, all of a sudden y'all beefing and you want to go back and forth and scream at each other and yell out profanities on Twitter. This is not that kind of party, all right? This is constructive criticism. And for you, man, I'm gonna just say this. If you're gonna come out and make a very bold statement and things like that, you gotta really be sure to do your research, and you gotta really have an open mind, because the last thing you could do is make a contradicting statement to say that I don't want to try anything new, but there's nothing out there. You get what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.